If you're anything like me, you want to make sure that your Yoder pellet grill is running the best it can. Today we're talking temperature calibration. I'm taking you through all the steps required from Yoder support to send in a calibration to make sure that your unit's running properly. And in the end, I'll talk to you about how often you need to do this and why it's important to do this. What's up everybody? Welcome back to Patio. My name's Jake. You're watching Rum and Cook. Today on the channel, we're talking Yoder temperature calibration. Now these are the steps for Yoder support. There's a whole bunch of them. I'm gonna break them down. We're gonna go over it step by step. I'm gonna show you the pictures. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through the whole process. It's gonna take you maybe 10, 15 minutes to clean up your pit to begin with, take the pictures, then it's gotta come up to temperature, gotta run for 2 hours at that temperature, then you gotta take some final pictures and you're done. So it's really not gonna take you that long. The great thing is you can get it all set up, walk away for 2 hours, come back, shut it down, and then you just send an email to support and they'll review your results. So what's the first step? First off, we've got to start with a clean pit. I recently did mine actually 2 weeks ago, so it's pretty clean, but it does need to be perfectly clean. So I'll bring you in, we're gonna do a little fast forward clean here because you guys have seen me do it a bunch. So now that you've got it all cleaned out, you need to take some pictures. We're actually going to do before and after pictures. You'll send that in to Yoder, and this just shows them that you actually followed the procedure and you cleaned it. You want to take a picture of the chimney, the grease trap, the firebox, the whole thing, and we're just going to show, yes, we followed the procedure and it's all clean. Now we're going to put it back together and we'll get on with the test. So now that we're put back together, we need a couple things. We need a tape measure, and we need both of our pit probes. What we're gonna do is we're gonna measure out our cooking chambers. So probe number one, the one that goes into number one on here, needs to be 11 inches in, and probe number two needs to be 22. Now that's for the 640 specifically. If you have a 480, you go 10 and 20. All right, so let's get these guys in. One. There's number two. So we're going to get our tape measure out. We're going to go right at the center here. So we're at 11 there. And you need to take a picture of this part of the test as well. Take your tape measure out, be careful not to move your probes. Now we're going to fire this up. Now the one thing you want to do, in the manual, you're actually not supposed to leave the Yoder plugged in all the time. The controller doesn't fully shut down. So, you know, if you're ever having some weird temperature issues and you happen to leave it plugged in, unplug it for, 10, 15 minutes before your next cook, and that might actually help you with your temperature issues. But what we're doing here is I'm going to plug it back in and we're going to do our startup. And for this part, the temperature doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is that you want to wait till it gets up to temperature and then don't touch it at all. From that point, it needs to run for 2 hours. I'm gonna pick 300, nice even number. We're gonna wait till this guy gets going. And once you start to see some smoke, you know that we're ignited down there, so we're gonna close this. And again, you're gonna wait until this gets up to your, whatever temperature you set it to, in my case 300. And then once it hits that point and stabilizes, then you're gonna start your stopwatch for 2 hours. One thing I forgot to mention is the baffle on the 640 has to be in the middle during this test. So it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. Test is done. Now all we do, we're gonna turn it off, let it go through its shutdown process. And once it's cooled down, take some more pictures. And then what you do is you email support@yodersmokers.com. You send them your pictures, you tell them when your cook was, they can look it up on the Fireboard app, and they'll tell you whether or not you need to go into the advanced settings and adjust the offset. So, why are we doing this? Well, what happens over time, the thermocoupler inside expands and contracts, and it just needs to be recalibrated. How often should you do this? Well, it depends how anal you are. Probably once a year is good. You could do it every 6 months, but really more than that would be too much. 6 months or a year. Just run through it, they'll adjust it. It's gonna change, and this will just help you run well. So, now that you know how to calibrate your grill, you gotta figure out what the 12 mistakes are that everyone makes. So right down here, I have a video that goes over all of that. Don't make some of these mistakes. When you're new to pellet grills, or even if you've been using them for a little while, you might make them. A lot of times you end up chasing temperatures. So check out this video. It's the 12 mistakes. Thanks as always for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you found it valuable. Don't forget to subscribe. And finally, don't forget I got Offset Rookie, my new channel. Link will be down below. I'm actually out here firing it up for the first time and doing a seasoning video on my new Workhorse 1975.